This is my Traxxas Sledge, and I've had it for just about a month now, and haven't really done any upgrades to it. The only things that I have done is replacing the center drive shaft rubber boots because some rocks got in there and tore them up. And then to help protect the new ones, I put a chassis cover on, which I wouldn't really call upgrades per se. So today I'm going to be doing what I think might be the best first upgrades for my Traxxas Sledge. Alright, so as you might have seen, these are the two things that we're going to be doing today. It is a motor fan from Traxxas, and part number is 3476. And then a front bumper from RPM, part number 70982. And the reason I wanted the cooling fan is because in Arizona, where I live, it can get up to about 128 degrees or so in the summertime, and the motor was getting up to about 130, 132 just driving during the winter when it's about 60, 65 degrees outside. So I'm fairly certain that the motor would overheat if I was trying to drive it in the summer with no motor fan. So this should be a very good upgrade and help keep the motor nice and cool. The RPM front bumper for the Sledge, I think, is probably one of the most popular front bumpers. Maybe not the best, but it's the one that I decided to get because the Sledge doesn't have any bumper at all. It just has the bare body and then a little skid plate on the front and back. So this should help to protect the body, but also the components behind there from any hard impacts or anything, so that hopefully nothing breaks. So let's go ahead and get right into installing the front bumper. Alrighty, so first things first is to just get the bumper open. RPM sticker. That's nice. The screws that came with it are for the actual front bumper section. And then it is replacing the entire skid plate. Alrighty, to start off, we have got to take off the original bumper and skid plate. So that's going to be 7 screws. And let's see, are these 2.5? Yes. So they're 2.5 millimeters. This should be pretty simple. And then this middle screw right here is actually what holds the diff in place. So definitely don't forget to put that in. You'll be able to tell this one apart from the other ones because, as you can see, this one is much, much longer. So just make sure to put that back in the right spot. Okay, now we've got to get these screws on the front here, and these I believe are 2 millimeters. Oh, never mind, they're 2.5. It takes a long time to unscrew these by hand. Alright, so that's the entire old front bumper assembly off. Nice and simple, not too difficult. I think pretty much anybody can do this. And as you can see here, it is actually labeled front so that you won't mess it up if you're not replacing it. So then for the new bumper, this piece right here, so we're going to be taking out this piece right here. Alright, so I'm not that smart sometimes, and this was really one of those moments, because I thought this little piece was going to replace it. So I spent like 5 minutes taking off the green piece and then like 10 minutes trying to fit the plastic piece on there. And then I finally decided to just watch a few YouTube videos and figure out how it is actually supposed to go. And then I had to spend like another 10 minutes trying to get the aluminum piece back on, and then blah, 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 figured it out. So this is definitely one of those times, learn your lesson once, don't do it again, and maybe watch a few videos before you try and do something. Now, the instructions, I mean, I did sort of rip them up, but they weren't super clear exactly on what this piece was. So if you are installing this bumper on your car, just know that that goes over the green instead of replacing it, and that'll definitely save you a good amount of time. So back to the video. So now let's go ahead and put this over top, so that can slide right in there. It's a little tight, which is good. tap it on, and now we can put our long screws back into the front. Okay, that is nice and solid. Now we can put this part of the actual bumper onto this and then simply screw it onto the chassis. So all we're gonna have to do is put this on here like that, and then let's start with our differential screw to hold it there, and then put in the rest of our screws. Because this is holding the diff down and is going to be touching it, we don't want this to be too tight, so I'm just gonna back that off a little bit, and that, finish it off the front bumper. As you can see, it is nice and solid, it looks good, went together easy, and I think it'll work really nicely. Alright, so next up is the motor fan, and I'm going to open this normally this time so that I don't hurt anything, but it looks like I'm going to have to cut it open a bit. So this is, like I said, just the motor fan from Traxxas. So it is a plastic fan, but I think this will work good so that I don't have to trim anything on the motor mount. So it's just the fan, the extension wire so you can get to the radio box, and then this, because this is the kit, it came with the fan shroud as well, plus a zip tie and screws to hold it all down. So as you might think, this is a really straightforward process. All I have to do is screw the fan down onto the motor mount just like this, and then plug it into the radio box. And you can orient this any way that you'd like if you wanted to run the wire somewhere else. I'm going to orient it like this though, so I can run the wire down by the ESC over to the radio box like this. This is a 35mm fan, so if you wanted to get something like a metal fan, you just need a 35mm fan, and they are square. So it just clips into the shroud like that. So as you can see, it is solid in there. And then it has this little clip right here for the connector to go into. So let's go ahead and put this down onto the motor mount like that. Now we just need to get out the screws to screw it down. Let's see if these are a 2 or 2.5mm. And they come with Loctite in the box, so that is nice. And as you might expect, Traxxas fan should fit the Traxxas motor mount, and it does fit perfectly. Okay, so now we got to unscrew the radio box right here, and this is just the wire clamp holding all of them down before we open up the entire box. Okay, so then this just lifts right up like that, and it is a little bit dirty in there, but as you might be able to see, it is a little bit greasy, and that's the grease that Traxxas adds just to help keep everything out of here. So now that we have that wire clamp off, we have to unscrew the rest of the radio box. Alrighty, so now let's get these wires a little bit further out of the way. We can lift up the radio box. Just watch out for your seal down here. Make sure that you get it off of here to push it back down into its place. Just make sure to be careful around that too, so that you don't tear it, so that your radio box can stay nice and watertight. So we just have to slide this connector in like this through here. It's tough because these are so small. Okay, so now that's in. So now that it's through there, all we have to do is plug it into an open channel inside of the receiver box. So as you can see in there, there's only 2 channels being used up. and they all have power, so we just have to plug into one of them, and then once you turn on the car, it will turn on the motor fan. Leave myself a little bit of extra wire while I'm doing this. Plug it in. It's a little more difficult than just plugging it in, but once you get it, push it down. So now we just got to close back up the receiver box, which is as simple as just making sure your wires are in there, making sure the seal is nice and down in place, and then pushing it down. And then have one or two of your screws ready, unlike me, so that you can put them in and hold it down. Alright, now we just have to put the wire clamp back on. So just set it down like that. You'll feel it once it's down. Put the two screws back in. Let's go ahead and just push these wires over and put them in here. This wire right here, I don't think I'm going to use the zip tie because it seems pretty solid right here. So I'm going to hook up the batteries, turn it on, and make sure that I installed the fan the correct way. Okay, let's see. It is spinning, but I'm not sure if I put it in the right way because I feel air coming up right here where the ESC, I can just feel it down. So let's go ahead and unplug it and then check that. Okay, so I did have it installed upside down. Okay, let's put it in the correct way this time. Alright, so the bumper and motor fan are in, and everything went smoothly and works. So let's go ahead and go drive this thing a little. Perfect RC car ramp. Now I gotta get the sledge all set up. Okay. A little lighter on the throttle. Ah. Gas, not brake. Whew. That was a big one. Go ahead and check the temperature on the motor. Alright, so right under the ESC, 92. 91. That's really good, actually. So you can see right where the fan isn't blowing at the end, 108 where the fan is blowing, 100. That's really significant. Dang, that hit the body tough. Oop. Did I just put a hole in it? I just put a hole in the body. Dang. Let's try doing a front flip. See what happens. Oh, yes! And this thing does hit with some power, weighing like 13 pounds, going 70 miles an hour. Whew. Whew, this thing really hops on its side. You're gonna have to do a little visual inspection after this. Ah! Man, that was close. Still haven't figured out that backflip. Ah! Man, I landed on the back hard. That was the back on the wing. Man, this thing is getting beat today. Nice. What are you doing? The grass is dead. Let's check the motor real quick. At the end of the run, motor is 122 under the fan, 150 on the edge. ESC is 110, 113, 100. All right, so pretty high, but not too terrible. Don't forget to turn off your controller. Alright, so after this, I would say pretty hard bash, everything held up great. The only thing that did happen, and this isn't related to the modifications that I did, is one of the wing supports going to the edge snapped. So I'm probably going to get a new wing, but probably not put it on until I can learn how to not land on it so much when I'm jumping and stuff. Because as you can see, it was pretty much just digging in the ground whenever I landed on it. Let's go ahead and talk about the cost of the bumper and motor fan. The RPM front bumper, it only costs $17. And I think for what you're getting, that is a very good price, especially because it does a lot. Just protecting the body and overall the components, and I think strengthening the car a good amount because it actually just is solid. For it being plastic, you might not think it's super strong, but it's a lot stronger than you might think. And the Traxxas motor fan, it is Traxxas, so it costs about $25, which I would say is still a pretty decent price, because you can get some pretty expensive motor fans out there. And if you want to go get any of these for yourself, for your Traxxas Sledge, I will go ahead and leave a description down below. And there's only one other thing that I did, which I wouldn't really call necessary, but definitely helpful. And I cut up the bottom of the body so that I could put it on a lot easier without running into the bumper at all, because it did stick down quite a bit. Now, if you're not replacing your bumper, this is probably something that you're going to want to do anyways, so that if you land on the front, it's not going to be smushing in behind the skid plate. And then you got to pull it out, and it's just sort of annoying. So thanks for watching, and if you want to see any of my other videos, go ahead and click here. So I'll see you in the next one.